Once you lower yourself to chase after someone, you just make yourself look cheap. So, when I found out that the campus belle, who rejected my confessions 99 times, had actually fallen in love with me at first sight long ago, but only kept rejecting me because she wanted to enjoy the feeling of being pursued by the guy she liked, rejecting me time and time again, I decided I wouldn't give a damn about her anymore. At the same time, I applied to my professor for a study abroad scholarship. Before leaving, living by the principle of what you can pick up, you can put down, I planned to use the campus belle's birthday party to cut ties with her completely. But by the time I arrived, the birthday party had already started. Familiar, teasing voices echoed from inside the private room. Why isn't Lu Chengzhou here yet? He's not off preparing some big surprise, is he? He's already confessed 99 times. It's about to hit the 100th mark. Tianyu, shouldn't you just say yes to him already? Yeah, it's obvious you like him too. If you reject him again this time, your soon-to-be boyfriend might actually run away. Hearing the girls in the room teasing her, Lin Tianyu sounded incredibly confident. Lu Chengzhou. He likes me so much. He's not going anywhere. Next time he confesses, I'll say yes. Hearing her tone, so sure of her victory, I just found it utterly ridiculous. Next time? There will never be a next time. During the 2 years I spent pursuing Lin Tianyu, I threw away all my pride, ignored the endless mockery and sarcasm from my classmates, and tried every trick in the book to win her over every single day. But my sincerity was never once reciprocated. I had thought about giving up and silently shed tears through countless sleepless nights, but the next day, I would pull myself together and continue chasing after her. Even just to stay by her side, I almost gave up the hard-earned exchange student scholarship that I had fought so hard to get. Until that day, when I accidentally saw Lin Tianyu's phone and realized she had fallen in love with me at first sight a long time ago. She had my contacts saved as hubby. In her photo album, she had saved thousands of pictures of me. But after finding out she liked me too, I didn't feel happy at all. Instead, I just felt incredibly ridiculous and furious. I'm tired. I'm done. Now, I just want to leave and disappear completely from Lin Tianyu's world. The moment I pushed the door open and walked in, the chatter in the private room suddenly stopped. Everyone tacitly turned their backs, pretending to change the subject, acting as if they didn't see me. Lin Tianyu also raised her glass and continued playing the game, putting on a cold, indifferent front, not even bothering to bat an eye. I glanced at her, couldn't help but marvel at how good her acting was. Faced with everyone's blatant ignorance in the room, I didn't feel disappointed at all. I just walked over to an empty seat in the corner and sat down. For over an hour after that, everyone was busy greeting each other and chatting away, while I just sat there alone, scrolling through my phone, like an invisible man. In the past, the moment Lin Tianyu appeared, I would definitely find a chance to get close to her, coming up with all sorts of topics to grab her attention. Even for this birthday party, it was only because I kept pestering her and asked so many people to put in a good word for me that she finally agreed to invite me. Logically speaking, something so hard to get should be cherished even more. But looking at my casual, sloppy outfit and my completely indifferent attitude, it seemed like I didn't care about her birthday at all. This cold attitude, so different from my usual self, finally made Lin Tianyu unable to hold back anymore. She subconsciously glanced at me a few more times. After singing happy birthday and cutting the cake, it was quickly time for the gift giving. I waited until everyone else had given their gifts, then slowly stood up, took a calendar out of my bag and handed it to her. Everyone present stared at me in shock, because this calendar was only the size of a palm, with only 30 pages in total, and looked incredibly shabby. I didn't care about the looks on everyone else's faces. I just looked at Lin Tianyu and said flatly, Lin Tianyu, starting today, tear off one page every day. When you tear off the last page, there will be a surprise. That will be the belated birthday gift I prepared for you. Hearing that, her roommates immediately burst into loud, mocking laughter. The 100th confession, right? You're really persistent. It's been 2 years and you're still this stubborn? Do you really like Lin Tianyu that much? Hearing those sarcastic remarks, Lin Tianyu naturally assumed this was a countdown calendar for my 100th confession. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, but she quickly suppressed it, returning to her cold, emotionless demeanor. Before, I only said that if you confessed 100 times, I would reconsider. I never said I would definitely say yes. I knew they had all misunderstood the moment the last page of the calendar was torn off. wasn't the day I planned to confess, but the day I would completely disappear from her world. I didn't explain. I just gave a soft chuckle. Lin Tianyu, I've chased you for so long, yet I still haven't moved your heart. I really want to know what your ideal type is. What exactly are you looking for? After I asked, the whole room fell dead silent. Everyone shot meaningful glances in her direction. Lin Tianyu stared at me, silent for a few seconds. She parted her lips slightly. My ideal type. Just as she started speaking, the tightly closed door was suddenly pushed open. In an instant, it drew everyone's attention. Under the gaze of the crowd, Zhou Yanshu walked in holding an exquisitely wrapped gift box. Lin Tianyu broke into a gentle smile. Happy birthday, Tianyu. Lin Tianyu's eyes followed the greeting, landing softly on Zhou Yanshu. She tapped her finger lightly on the table, continuing her interrupted sentence. My ideal type is, of course, someone with a bright personality, like a handsome, sunny boy next door. Hearing such an ambiguous statement right as he walked in, Zhou Yanshu's face lit up with obvious joy. He hurriedly walked over to her side, handed her the gift he had painstakingly prepared, and urged her to open it right there. Instantly, everyone's attention was drawn to them. No one brought up the previous topic anymore. Watching the two of them surrounded by the crowd, I didn't show a hint of heartbreak. Instead, I calmly went back to my seat and sat down. Throughout the whole evening, no matter where Lin Tianyu went, Zhou Yanshu was always right beside her. The two of them talked and laughed, took drinks for each other, and even shared a piece of cake. I quietly watched their intimate display as countless memories suddenly flashed through my mind. Even though Lin Tianyu was the campus belle of Qingda University, with countless suitors, she always kept her distance from guys. The only exception was her childhood friend, the guy she grew up with, Zhou Yanshu. She would brush his messy bangs aside, go to class with him, carry his bag for him, and even make bets with girls from other schools for him. Seeing all that favoritism felt like thorns piercing straight into my heart. But it wasn't until the day I learned the truth that I finally understood. Even though Lin Tianyu and Zhou Yanshu were childhood friends, they were never actually that close before. Zhou Yanshu clung to Lin Tianyu all day long, but she never paid him any mind until I showed up. That was when she started deliberately acting, all intimate with Zhou Yanshu right in front of me, just to make me jealous, so I'd be even more motivated to chase her. So seeing Lin Tianyu right in front of me, putting on such a show, I just found it incredibly ironic. I set down the wine glass in my hand, stood up, and went to the restroom. Splashing some water on my face, I sobered up a bit. I pulled a tissue from my pocket to wipe the water off my face. With my vision blocked, I didn't notice someone had suddenly appeared beside me. It wasn't until I heard Zhou Yanshu's weird, sarcastic tone that I realized something was off. Lu Chengzhou, you've been chasing Tianyu for years, and she's never said yes. Yet you still have the nerve to shamelessly crash her birthday party. Do us all a favor, she doesn't even like you. Can you just know your place for once? What a cheap stalker. I didn't show the slightest bit of annoyance at his words. I just looked at him calmly. Are you done barking? Zhou Yanshu didn't expect me to react like that. He was momentarily stunned. Of course not. Do you have any idea what the whole school is saying about you? The stalker who confessed 99 times. You're a college student, for crying out loud. Don't you have any dignity left? Anyone with eyes can see that Tianyu likes me. Why don't you open your damn eyes and look? Looking at his pathetic, arrogant display, I remained completely unfazed. I just shifted my gaze from him to the space behind his back. Before you keep running your mouth, you might want to look behind you. Following my gaze, Zhou Yanshu turned around with a confused look on his face. One look, and he saw Lin Tianyu standing outside the door. She seemed to have been standing there for quite a while and had likely witnessed the whole scene with her own eyes. The moment that thought hit him, Zhou Yanshu immediately panicked. His expression quickly shifted to a pitiful, weak look. Losing all of his previous arrogance, he hurried over to her side, grabbed her arm, and frantically started explaining, Tianyu, it's not what it looks like. It was Lu Chengzhou. He was bullying me first, but Lin Tianyu didn't seem to care at all. She had clearly seen Zhou Yanshu insulting me, yet she acted as if nothing happened. She glanced up at me, then took off her jacket. She draped it over Zhou Yanshu. The wind is strong outside, and you're dressed so lightly. Be careful not to catch a cold. With that, she took his hand and turned to walk back to the private room. Zhou Yanshu didn't expect me to have such an attitude, seeming completely unbothered. Seeing her scold me, he immediately gained more confidence. He smugly turned his head back, revealing a face full of mockery, laughing at my failure to know my own place. Since my head was down, I didn't even see Zhou Yanshu's provocation. I crumpled the wet tissue and tossed it into the trash can, then turned and went downstairs. The stairwell was incredibly quiet, echoing only with the sound of my footsteps. In the pitch-black darkness, my mind flashed back to what had just happened. I let out a cold laugh. Just now, when she draped the jacket over Zhou Yanshu, her eyes were clearly fixed on me. Her mouth was spouting words of concern for Zhou Yanshu. But I have to admit, her acting skills were truly top-notch. If I hadn't already seen through her hidden feelings, I probably would have actually been fooled by her. It was pouring rain outside. Almost all the taxis had stopped running. The whole group was stuck at the entrance of the bar. Lin Tianyu had called her family's driver, saying she wanted to take Zhou Yanshu home. It's so late, and everyone else has already left. Leaving Lu Chengzhou here to wait for a car all by himself doesn't seem right. Lin Tianyu took the umbrella from the driver. He has legs. He knows how to get home. After saying that, she didn't even bother to look at my expression and just led Zhou Yanshu into the car. Watching the sports car disappear into the rain, I didn't care at all and just kept trying to hail a ride on the app. I stood waiting in the cold wind for over 2 hours until the rain finally let up and a driver finally accepted my ride. By the time I got home, it was already 2 a.m. I walked up to my door and entered the passcode. Just as the door opened, the door across the hall opened too. Come home a little earlier from now on. Your door is too loud. It's messing with my sleep. I looked at the clothes she hadn't even changed out of yet, suddenly understood, and let out a cold chuckle. I gave a half-hearted yeah, then turned and walked straight into my apartment. I turned on the lights and shut the door. Only after I finished taking off my shoes did I hear a loud slam from the door outside. I couldn't be bothered to care. I changed into my pajamas, turned on the egg, wrapped myself in a blanket, and sprawled out on the couch. Half a year ago, I heard from someone that Lin Tianyu was moving out of the dorms, so I purposely bought this apartment. To pursue her, I moved out just to be her neighbor, bringing her breakfast in the morning, wishing her good night in the evening. Every day I created accidental encounters just to move her heart. But no matter how attentive and caring I was, she always ignored me. But once I saw through her true feelings, I realized she was always just pretending not to care. Just like tonight, she clearly got home early and hadn't even changed her clothes, all because she was worried about my safety, and stayed up until now. But the moment she saw me, she deliberately said those harsh words. This whole saying one thing but meaning another act of hers, I was sick and tired of watching it. I couldn't be bothered to play along anymore. I opened my phone, went to a real estate app, and listed the apartment for sale. Since I decided to leave, I needed to make a clean break. The next morning, a real estate agent came to see the place. I groggily got out of bed, opened the door, and gave her a quick tour of the apartment. After the viewing, as I was walking her to the door across the hall opened. Lin Tianyu was holding her car keys, also about to head out. Seeing a strange woman next to me, she subconsciously frowned. Who is she? My sister-in-law. She just dropped some stuff off. I lied with a straight face. The agent next to me immediately looked over in surprise. But she was very professional and didn't expose my lie. She just found an excuse and left first. I went back inside to change, planning to head to school. Just as I turned the corner, someone was standing in front of the elevator, blocking the way. I looked up and saw it was Lin Tianyu. I couldn't help but find it strange. Didn't she just leave? Why was she still here? Lin Tianyu saw the confusion in my eyes and spoke up, looking a bit unnatural. I'll give you a ride to school today. I had no idea what was wrong with her today. It was like she had turned into a completely different person. So I shook my head and refused. But she was acting like she took the wrong meds, insisting on driving me and coming up with all sorts of excuses, from me being late for class to it being on her way. Looking at her, she probably would have even used protecting the environment as an excuse. I couldn't argue with her, and I didn't want to waste any more time, so I just agreed. We didn't say a single word to each other the whole way there. The car was dead silent, used to hearing me chatter in her ear. Seeing me this quiet seemed to make Lin Tianyu uncomfortable. A hint of surprise flashed in her heart. It seemed she wasn't imagining things. I really had changed over the past few days, and this change suddenly started to make her panic. As soon as we arrived at school, I unbuckled my seatbelt, dropped a quick thanks, got out of the car, and walked straight off. I hurried through the school gates and noticed that the people walking by were all staring at me with really weird looks. That's Lu Chengzhou, right? Yeah, the guy from the trending search. So embarrassing. Hearing those whispers, I quickly pulled out my phone. Immediately, I saw several links sent by my friends. I clicked on them and found out someone had taken the story of me pursuing Lin Tianyu and posted it on the school's gossip forum. It even made it to the top trending searches. Looking at the headline, Qingda's ultimate simp stalker, I stood frozen in place, completely stunned. The hottest post in that thread compiled everything I had ever done to pursue her, detailing every single little thing, even publicly exposing the contents of my love letters. From a distance, I saw a crowd gathered. In front of the school bulletin board, it was plastered with the love letters I had written. The crowd was laughing and judging. Oh, wow, what is this? Drowning in your eyes. So cringy. 99 love letters written in every style imaginable. This kind of simp, it's terrifying. Isn't he supposed to be Qingda's top genius? Why is he lowering himself to be a stalker like this? Hearing these ruthless, mocking words, my heart sank. I immediately pushed through the crowd and tore them down one by one. As I tore down the last one, the harsh, biting voice of Zhou Yanshu rang in my ears again. Tianyu, Lu Qingzhou has confessed to you so many times. Do you have even the slightest feelings for him? Lin Tianyu's voice was as cold as ever, dropping just a single word, no. Seeing that both main characters were present at the scene, and I was humiliated in front of everyone. The laughter from the crowd grew louder, more shameless. A few troublemakers, probably thinking things weren't chaotic enough, deliberately taunted me. Lu Chengqiu, you've confessed 99 times, and all you've gotten is a big fat 0. Think you should keep trying? So when's the next confession gonna be? We'll all be there to watch and maybe give you a few pointers. How about it? I clutched the torn love letter in my hand, my knuckles turning white from the pressure. Words were on the tip of my tongue. I was about to say something, but seeing all the mocking eyes fixed on me from every direction, I swallowed them back down. I held the letter high in my hand, like I was waving a battle flag, and declared loudly, fine, my 100th confession. Will be at the school's Central Plaza, December 3rd, 9 a.m. Everyone is welcome to come and watch. Bring your friends. After I said my piece, I didn't care how anyone reacted. I just held my head high and walked away. I skipped class that morning. Instead, I went straight home. I took that thick stack of love letters and tore every single one to shreds. Then I burned them to ash and flushed it all down the drain. That weekend, the club's group chat, which had been dead for a while, suddenly lit up with a message. Someone wanted to organize a get-together. I needed to hand in my withdrawal form for the club anyway, so I decided to go. But as soon as I walked through the door, I saw Lin Tianyu. She'd never shown up to this kind of thing before, but today she made an exception. I pretended not to see her and found a seat in the corner by myself. The moment they saw me, Zhou Yanshu's buddies immediately started their little back-and-forth act. I wonder why Tianyu agreed to come. Obviously, it's because Yanshu likes a crowd. Everyone knows our campus queen only listens to Yanshu. I couldn't be bothered with their petty games. I just grabbed a few tangerines and started peeling one. Once everyone was there, the club president announced that the game would begin. I wasn't interested at all, but I got dragged into it anyway. I had to force myself to get into it, playing this incredibly lame game of truth or dare. After about 7 or 8 rounds, it was finally Lin Tianyu's turn to lose. Everyone went wild, shouting excitedly. Campus Queen Lin drew a dare. Kiss someone of the opposite sex here for 3 minutes. Hurry up, hurry up! Who's our queen going to pick for her dare? I knew she wouldn't pick me, and I didn't care who she picked either. I just kept my head down, fiddling with the dice in my hand, and just as I expected, Lin Tianyu chose Zhou Yanshu, but she made one request. All the lights in the room had to be turned off. The room was plunged into pitch-black darkness. All you could hear was the sound of heavy breathing. 3 minutes later, the lights flicked back on. Lin Tianyu was the first to sit down. Zhou Yanshu just stood there, stunned. He didn't look too happy, because Lin Tianyu hadn't kissed him. I shot him a cold glance. Then I heard the club president announce the start of the next round. I casually rolled the 3 dice. Unfortunately, 3 ones, the lowest score in the room. I didn't say a word. I drew a card from the deck. It was the exact same dare as before. Instantly, everyone in the room got excited. Their eyes darted back and forth between me, Lin Tianyu, and Zhou Yanshu. I pretended not to notice. I casually spun the game's spinner. The arrow landed on a junior girl sitting across from me. For a second, everyone thought I was going to back out. Your turn. The girl looked stunned and was about to get up, But then Lin Tianyu suddenly shot to her feet, knocking her chair over. Before anyone could figure out what was happening, she cut in coldly. "We've been playing for a while. I'm getting tired. Shouldn't we take a break?" Since she spoke up, her roommates quickly agreed. The club president had no choice but to call for a break. During the break, a few of the girls said they were getting hungry. Her roommates quickly dragged the guys downstairs, saying they were going to buy some food. They were gone for a full 20 minutes. Since they still weren't back, the club president didn't want to wait anymore and announced that the game would resume. I put my phone down and glanced around. That's when I noticed the junior girl was gone. Or more accurately, except for Lin Tianyu, all the other girls had disappeared. I didn't even have to guess. I knew this was another one of Lin Tianyu's setups, but I had no intention of giving her what she wanted. So I picked up the 500 ml glass of liquor in front of me and raised it to the others. "The partner I chose is gone. According to the rules, I'll take the penalty and drink this glass." With that, I tilted my head back and downed the entire glass without flinching. Lin Tianyu never expected I'd rather drink than choose her. Her face instantly darkened. Her eyes darkened as she stared at my flushed face, clenching the dice in her hands so hard they rattled. With half the people gone, the game wasn't fun anymore. The party just fizzled out. I was already tipsy. I waited for everyone else to leave, then I took the club withdrawal form out of my bag and gave it to the president. I braced myself against the wall and started to head downstairs. Just as I got to the top of the stairs, I vaguely saw Zhou Yanshu standing not too far away. I was about to pretend I didn't see him and slip past, but he grabbed my arm. His eyes were filled with rage. Earlier, after the lights came on, "What was that look you gave me? Let me tell you something. Even if Tianyu didn't kiss me, she had her reasons. It shows that she respects me." Hearing that, I almost laughed out loud, but I knew that no matter what I said, it wouldn't get through to Zhou Yanshu. So I just nodded. "Yeah, you're right about everything." With that, I tried to shrug his hand off and leave. But Zhou Yanshu just gripped my arm tighter, cursing at me, refusing to let go. We struggled back and forth. I was already unsteady on my feet, and with one hard pull, I lost my balance and fell backward. I tumbled all the way down the long flight of stairs. Zhou Yanshu was startled. He lost his footing and came tumbling down after me. Hearing the commotion from upstairs, the students downstairs, who hadn't left yet, quickly turned around. When they saw that we were both badly hurt, everyone started to panic. In the end, it was Lin Tianyu who kept a cool head. She took us to her family's hospital. After an examination, the doctor said we had bone fractures. If not treated promptly, there was a risk of permanent disability. From the moment she saw we were injured, her eyes never left me. Seeing my pale face and the sweat pouring down my forehead, she seemed to feel my pain. Her own heart seemed to ache. The operating room was prepped, but there was only one surgeon in the hospital at the moment who could perform this kind of operation. There was only one specialist. Lin Tianyu had to decide who would go first. She instinctively looked at me, and our eyes met. In my eyes, the old affection and passion were gone. All that was left was the stillness of a dead lake. That look made Lin Tianyu's heart tremble violently. "Miss, you need to decide now. Who goes into surgery first?" I lay on the stretcher, my face ashen. Just a second before I lost consciousness, I heard Lin Tianyu say the name, loud and clear. "Zhou Yanshu. Save Zhou Yanshu first." Moments later, the doctors wheeled Zhou Yanshu into the operating room. The moment the door swung shut, I completely blacked out. When I woke up again, a day had passed. I opened my eyes, and the first thing I did was reach down to touch my leg. When I felt that my leg was still there, and that I could still feel it, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Tears of relief streamed down my face. Thank God I wasn't crippled. My parents got the news and rushed over. They had me moved to a VIP room on the top floor and took care of everything. 2 hours later, Zhou Yanshu was moved into the room across the hall from me. Lin Tianyu herself was helping him. For the convenience of the nurses making their rounds, the doors to both our rooms were left open, so I had a clear view of what was happening in the room across the hall. Zhou Yanshu kept complaining about the pain, so Lin Tianyu would find all sorts of things to talk about to distract him. When he didn't like the hospital food, she would personally go home and cook him all sorts of light meals to bring back. When he complained about being bored in his room, she would find all kinds of new and interesting gadgets to keep him entertained. During the dozen or so days I was in the hospital, the two of them were so close that even the nurses started gossiping, wondering aloud if their hospital director was about to get a son-in-law. I just quietly listened, never saying a word. But I knew perfectly well that Lin Tianyu was doing all of this for my benefit. After all, I must have closed my door 100 times, but every time I did, a nurse would immediately come in for a checkup. That was definitely no coincidence. On the day I was discharged, I ran into them again in the underground parking garage. The moment she saw me, Lin Tianyu helped Zhou Yanshu out of his wheelchair and into the car. Lu Chengcho, I hear you live right across from Tianyu. How about we give you a ride? I didn't even spare him a glance. I didn't even look up. I just walked straight to my own car. When our car pulled up to the apartment building, I refused my parents' help and made my way inside on my own with my crutches. The elevator went up from the parking garage to the first floor. Lin Tianyu, who should have been driving Zhou Yanshu home, suddenly stepped inside. Our eyes met. Neither of us said a word. The elevator stopped on the 17th floor. Lin Tianyu stood by the door, not moving to get out. I had to maneuver around her on my crutches and step out first. I walked very slowly, but the person behind me walked even slower. I could feel her eyes on me, boring into my back. When I got to my front door, I was about to punch in the code. Suddenly, one of my crutches slipped and fell to the floor. I had to lean against the wall and slowly lower myself down. Just as my hand touched the crutch, a shadow fell over me. Lin Tianyu had crouched down too. Maybe she was going to help me pick it up, but the moment our eyes met, she pulled her hand back. Instead, she bent down to tie her own shoelace, which had come undone. I gave a sarcastic smile. I picked up the crutch, slowly got to my feet, and went inside. After a long time recovering at home, it was finally time for final exams. Even though I was about to go abroad, my leg had healed enough for me to walk on it, so I didn't request to postpone the exams. I decided to take them as scheduled. The tiered lecture hall had too many stairs. Since my leg wasn't fully healed, I just took a seat in the first row of the center aisle. A moment later, Lin Tianyu walked in, helping Zhou Yanshu. The moment he saw me, Zhou Yanshu immediately started complaining that his leg hurt and insisted on sitting in the front row. So Lin Tianyu helped him to the seat right next to me and took the seat against the wall for herself. The exam started soon after. Zhou Yanshu waited for the perfect moment, right as the proctor stepped off the last stair and threw a wadded-up piece of paper he'd prepared earlier over to my desk across the aisle. The hand holding my pen froze. Before I could even figure out what was going on, the teacher turned around and yelled at me. I emphasized this over and over. Before the exam, you can get a bad grade, but your character must not be compromised. Absolutely no cheating. You knew the rules and still deliberately broke them. Lu Chengzhou, your exam results are voided. It wasn't until this moment that I realized what Chu Yanshu was up to. But I had no intention of swallowing this injustice. I immediately stood up to defend myself and demanded to check the security cameras. Unfortunately, the lecture hall had a power outage this morning, so the cameras in the classroom hadn't turned back on yet. Seeing Chu Yanshu's expression shift from panic to smug delight, I really couldn't swallow this anger. Lin Tianyu was sitting right next to Chu Yanshu. She had seen everything. The teacher didn't want to falsely accuse anyone either, so she immediately called Lin Tianyu over. The lecture hall at Qingdao University was funded by the Lin family, so Lin Tianyu didn't need to suck up to anyone. She had always been known for her aloof and upright character, so her words carried an immense amount of weight among both teachers and students. After hearing the whole story, Lin Tianyu glanced up at me, then said coldly, Chu Yanshu wasn't the one cheating. As soon as those words left her mouth, it practically convicted me on the spot. Lu Chengzhou, what else do you have to say for yourself? Not only do you refuse to admit to cheating, but you also framed your classmate. You're incredibly stubborn. Were all your past grades achieved by copying too? No matter what, I will definitely report this to the school and have you publicly disciplined. I stood frozen in place, feeling as cold as if I'd been plunged into an ice cellar. I thought that in matters of clear right and wrong, Lin Tianyu would stick to her principles, which was why I brought up her name, but I never expected that even after witnessing everything with her own eyes, she would still step up to give false testimony for Chu Yanshu. At this point, explaining further was useless. I took a deep look into Lin Tianyu's eyes, then turned and walked away without a word. Seeing my red, teary eyes, Lin Tianyu suddenly panicked. She instinctively chased after me and blocked my path. Lu Chengzhou, I know Yanshu was wrong this time, but he's thin-skinned. I didn't want him to be gossiped about. She didn't offer a single word of apology, only busy making excuses for Chu Yanshu. I began to wonder if the photo I saw that day was just a dream. So, that's why you helped him frame me? He can't handle the gossip. But I can. Lin Tianyu, do you think, just because I confessed to you 99 times, my skin is as thick as a brick wall, and I'm so tough that I'm immune to any rumors? Seeing me like this, Lin Tianyu's left eyelid twitched. She immediately grabbed my hand tightly. I didn't mean it like that. It's just one exam. You can still make up the credits. In the future, I'll find a way to make up for the injustice you suffered today. Make up for it? You don't even like me. So how exactly do you plan to do that? My sarcastic tone made Lin Tianyu flinch. She almost blurted out what was truly on her mind. Who said I don't like? As soon as she opened her mouth, she realized something was wrong. She quickly stopped herself. Trust me, wait until your 100th confession, and I will definitely make it up to you. Lin Tianyu was just short of saying, I will definitely say yes, out loud. In the past, she would never have let so much slip, but now, my heart had already grown completely cold. I brushed her hand away, then take your time scheduling it, and wait for that final day. Seeing me pull my hand back, Lin Tianyu was stunned. Her tone finally softened a bit. All right, there are only 3 days left. I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. 3 days before leaving, the apartment I had listed for over half a month was successfully sold. The real estate agent brought the contract over, and I quickly signed it. I'll move out in 3 days. Over the next few days, I'll clear out all my belongings, so the new owner can move right in. After the agent noted down the date, I walked him to the elevator. Just as the doors opened, Lin Tianyu stepped out carrying 2 bags. She stared at the agent for a long moment, then politely said good morning. The agent awkwardly replied. As the elevator went down, I turned to leave. Lin Tianyu suddenly called out to me, handing me one of the bags in her hand. I was just passing by, and I bought too much to finish myself. Do you want some? I glanced at it and realized it was the fruit preserves I used to love the most. That shop was on the east side of the city, a 2-hour round trip, and you had to wait in line for an hour just to buy it. She went out of her way to buy my favorite snack and then made up an excuse to give it to me. I took it without a word, and as soon as I got back inside, I casually tossed it away. The bag of fruit preserves traced a parabola in the air and landed perfectly in the trash can. 2 days before leaving, I took a trip to the print shop. I spent a few $100 printing 10,000 palm-sized cards. I went back to the dorms and asked my roommates to help me out on the 3rd. They were to climb up to the roof of the main building and scatter these cards over the plaza. My roommates all knew what had happened recently. Hearing that I still refused to give up, they took turns trying to persuade me. Chengzhou, maybe you should just let it go. After the way Lin Tianyu treated you, why put yourself through more pain? Yeah, what she did was seriously out of line. It's such a waste of your feelings. Even though I had already seen through everything, hearing my friends care for me like this still brought a wave of warmth to my heart. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Just help me scatter them down. I've already hired a cleaning company to handle the aftermath, and I'm not planning to confess. What I really want to do is say goodbye. Hearing this, my roommates were all stunned. They couldn't guess what I was actually up to. I thanked them one more time, then turned and left. Watching my back disappear into the distance, my roommates opened the cardboard box and pulled out a card. On it was written just a single sentence. Lu Chengzhou will never like Lin Tianyu again. One day before leaving, I went to the school to finalize all my paperwork, then went home and started packing my bags. I had only moved here half a year ago, so I didn't have that much stuff. But most of it was related to Lin Tianyu. I found a few boxes and threw all those things inside. The scarf I spent half a month knitting for Lin Tianyu, I cut into a pile of scrap yarn. The ceramic vase she donated at the charity fair, which I had put so much effort into winning at the auction, I now smashed into pieces. Every love letter I stayed up late writing for her, I threw away completely. I tossed them all into the shredder. The moment these boxes were thrown into the dumpster, everything between me and Lin Tianyu became a thing of the past. Finally, only 2 items were left in the house. The shirt she wore when we first met and those wide-leg black jeans. I struck a match and burned it all to ashes. Just as I stood up, I saw Lin Tianyu standing not far away, just cleaning up some unnecessary trash. I dropped the line casually, then turned and went upstairs. Early the next morning, I was woken up by noises from the room across the hall. Groggily opening my eyes, I picked up my phone to check the time, only to see message notifications popping up nonstop on the screen. It took me a moment to realize that all the messages were from a group chat of over 20 people. A year ago, to figure out Lin Tianyu's preferences, I had secretly asked to join this group. Then I completely forgot to leave it. Lin Tianyu had no idea I was in there either, and the people chatting so enthusiastically early in the morning were Lin Tianyu's dorm mates. Tianyu, you're up so early. Were you so excited you stayed up all night? Duh, she's been getting ready since 11 p.m. last night. Are you really going to accept Lu Chengzhou's confession this time? Scrolling to this point, my hand suddenly stopped. It was rare to see Lin Tianyu reply below. Typing out such a long message. It's not about accepting. He and I have always been meant for each other. Us getting together is just a matter of course. Stop asking these pointless questions and help me pick out which outfit looks better today. This one or this one? Seeing the dozens of outfit photos she sent, the group chat immediately blew up. Oh my god, you're dressing up this much? Is this still our aloof campus belle who doesn't care about men? Amidst a flurry of exclamations, Lin Tianyu just replied with one sentence, I really like him. In this life, it has to be him. Seeing these words, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. So many past memories flashed through my mind. Now, looking at the word like, I only felt it was as absurd and ironic as an O. Henry ending. You like me, so you rejected my confession 99 times and let me become a laughing stock in everyone's eyes? You like me, so you treated me with coldness and indifference, and deliberately got close to other guys just to piss me off? You like me, so you twisted the truth to frame me and trampled all over my sincere feelings in every possible way. If this is what her affection looks like, I really can't handle it, nor do I have the blessing to accept it. The messages in the group chat were popping up faster and faster. The girls in the dorm sent a few photos of the scene. It was barely past 7 a.m., but the plaza was already packed with people. They all came to watch my 100th confession. Tianyu, hurry up and get over here. Otherwise, when the confession starts, the female lead won't even be able to squeeze her way in. I was just about to close the app when I saw a message Lin Tianyu just sent. I'm heading out now. And you? I'm heading out now too. Just heading out to leave, that's all. I suddenly really wanted to see what kind of expression Lin Tianyu would have on campus after witnessing those cards rain down. After finding out I went abroad, what her state of mind would be. It's just a pity I won't be around to see it. From now on, everything about Lin Tianyu has nothing to do with me. After taking my time to finish packing, I took one last look at the empty room. Then I took out my phone and blocked every phone number and account related to Lin Tianyu. Once it was done, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I grabbed my suitcase, turned around, and left, stepping toward my own brilliant new life. It was 5 minutes to 9 o'clock. The plaza was packed with people, crowded to the brim. Even the security guards had to show up to maintain order. Looking at the bustling sea of people downstairs, my roommate's eyes went wide with surprise. Their voices were full of excitement. With this many people, whatever happens next is going to spread across the whole school in no time. Even better, saves Chengzhou the trouble after he leaves, so no one talks behind his back anymore. As they chatted excitedly, the time quickly ticked to 8:59. Chengzhou is already at the airport. Let's get moving. Throwing team, photography team, look alive. Everyone, we have to make sure that before Chengzhou boards his flight, he gets to witness this epic scene. Just as the words fell, the 9 o'clock alarm rang. 2 guys split left and right, taking their positions. They grabbed the stacks of paper already placed on the windowsill and pushed them straight down. In the blink of an eye, the white papers fluttered down from the 16th floor rooftop. Down in the plaza, some nearsighted student yelled out, "It's snowing!" making everyone look up at the same time. As the papers were about to hit the ground, the crowd below stood on their tiptoes, scrambling to grab them, curious to see what was written on them. Right in the center of the plaza, Lin Tianyu also looked up. Her close friends, seeing this grand spectacle, all clicked their tongues in awe. Why are there so many? There's gotta be like 10,000 of them, right? Lu Chengzhou really poured his heart into this. Hearing the envious gasps of her friends, Lin Tianyu's heart was also filled with anticipation. She reached out and caught a card, smiling as she flipped it over. But when she saw the words written on it, the expression on her face instantly froze. Her friends gathered around, ready to tease her a bit, but after catching a glimpse of the text, their faces all went blank. They started stammering. This can't be right, can it? There must be some mistake. A few of them tried to comfort her while picking up the pieces of paper on the ground to show Lin Tianyu. But the ones they just picked up all had the exact same printed words. Lu Chengzhou will never like Lin Tianyu again. Now everyone was truly panicking. They hurriedly snatched a few more from the bystanders around them. But after grabbing them and seeing the content, the horror in their hearts only deepened. How is this possible? Is this a confession? What the hell is written here? Did someone do this on purpose to ruin it? While a few were still trying to find excuses, the gossiping crowd around them, who had each received a flyer, started buzzing with chatter. Oh, damn! Lu Chengzhou will never like Lin Tianyu again. Turns out this isn't a confession at all. Holy shit, he lured everyone here, just to set the record straight. Going through all this trouble to make a huge scene. Now the whole school knows. Lin Tianyu's face, amidst the growing sarcastic whispers, gradually turned pale. She felt as if something inside her was completely choked up. Her brain lacked oxygen, leaving only a blank void. Until shock and panic completely took over her face. In the plaza, thousands of people were standing on their tiptoes to see her reaction. As for her, she didn't disappoint. She threw whatever she was holding to the ground and stormed straight into the main building. The nosy crowd hurriedly followed right behind her. After throwing down the last stack of paper, my roommates prepared to retreat. But as soon as they reached the door, they bumped right into Lin Tianyu. She had aggressively charged up the stairs with a few of her close friends. A few seconds later, the gossiping crowd also swarmed up. The other roommates following behind had also arrived. The moment they saw Lin Tianyu, one of the roommates immediately mocked her. Oh my, isn't this our Qingdai campus belle? Didn't you look down on Lu Chengzhou? Why are you here watching this pointless stunt today? Hearing that sarcastic tone, Lin Tianyu clenched her hands into fists, and her face instantly darkened. These things, you guys threw them down on your own, didn't you? Hearing the words on your own, the three guys all burst out laughing. We don't have the guts for that. Lu Chengzhou spent a ton of money printing these himself, and hauled them all the way to school. We're just the porters helping him cut ties, that's all. Hearing this, the crowd of students below started whispering, didn't Lin Tianyu dislike Lu Chengzhou? What's going on? He already gave up. But she looks like she can't accept it. What do you know? In the novels we read, this is called a face-slapping moment for the arrogant one. Now she's regretting it and chasing after him. But it's too late, if you ask me. If she's only regretting it now, she totally deserves to be humiliated like this. What the hell was she doing the previous 99 times? Those baseless speculations reached Lin Tianyu's ears, cutting into her heart like sharp knives, shattering the confidence she had held for so long. Over the past 2 years, she thought she knew me like the back of her hand, and could easily grasp my every thought and action. And the truth was just as she predicted. The previous 99 confessions all ended smoothly. She thought everything would conclude on the 100th time, and between her and me, a perfect period could be drawn. As a result, right when she was most certain of her victory, she used a method that announced to the whole world to deal her a fatal blow. She could no longer be like before, acting indifferent and calm. Her true colors were completely exposed. Where is Lu Chengzhou? The dorm head looked at her expression, a gloating smile appearing on his face. He raised his hands and made a flapping motion. The confession is all done, so of course he flew away. Lin Tianyu instinctively felt that he was lying to her, but when she heard those last 2 words, her heart seemed to stop beating for a few seconds. What did flew away mean? A bad premonition suddenly surged within her. She shoved past the guys, blocking the way, and sprinted desperately to the rooftop. The rooftop was completely empty, not a single person in sight. There was no sign of anyone at all. The hallway and elevator were packed with people. I can't possibly squeeze through. Could it be that Lu Chengzhou isn't coming to school today? When this realization hit her, she panicked, but there was nothing she could do. All available security was mobilized, and they finally managed to disperse the crowd jamming the main building. Surrounded by her close friends, Lin Tianyu was helped downstairs. The first thing she saw were 7 janitors sweeping up a sea of papers from the ground. Dazed, she bent down and picked up a piece of paper already trampled with shoe prints. When she saw the words written on it, her mood shifted completely. The anger and shock from before had now morphed into absolute panic and terror. It's okay, Tianyu. Lu Chengzhou is just pulling a stunt like this because he's still mad about that disciplinary action. That's all it is. Just go explain things to him properly. Tell him everything you've been holding back. He likes you so much, he'll definitely forgive you. Yeah, he chased you for 2 whole years and confessed to you 99 times. This time, he's probably just sulking a little. Just coax him a bit and everything will be fine. Although everyone was trying to console her with positive words, Lin Tianyu's sixth sense told her that this time was different from all the others. She couldn't suppress the feeling of panic rising in her heart, and she didn't want to listen to her friend's chatter anymore. With her mind in turmoil, she drove straight back to the apartment. She needed to find me and demand an explanation. At 10:30 p.m., after parking her car, she had just reached the gate of the complex. When she saw a janitor cleaning out the trash cans, the scene suddenly made her think of the image of me squatting on the ground yesterday, burning something. At the time, she thought I was acting a bit strange, but she didn't press for a reason. Now, she wanted to see what I had burned, but a new trash can had already been put in its place, and the garbage truck was long gone. Lin Tianyu had no choice but to take that piece of cardboard upstairs. As soon as the elevator doors opened, she found her way blocked by several large suitcases. Right in front of the door, the young man next to her saw she couldn't get out, so he quickly apologized and moved the luggage aside. She guessed to herself it must be a new neighbor moving in next door. However, as she reached her own door, she noticed the door to the apartment across the hall was slightly ajar. She raised her hand to knock. It was quiet inside. This unusual silence made Lin Tianyu frown unconsciously. Just as she was about to push the door open to look, a man's voice suddenly came from behind her. "Are you the neighbor from across the hall?" "Hi, I'm in room 1705. I'm the new tenant who just moved in. I look forward to being neighbors." 1705. Hearing that number, Lin Tianyu instinctively glanced at the number plate on the door. The next second, she froze on the spot, as if turned to stone. The young man from before pushed his suitcase over, still enthusiastically introducing himself. But Lin Tianyu didn't hear a single word. She suddenly spun around, her eyes fixed on the number plate for room 1705 to her left. The new tenant of 1705? Then where was the old tenant? The agent said he moved out this morning. Do you know him? Could you give me his contact information? He seemed to be in a real hurry to leave. The apartment was listed for a very low price. I was lucky enough to snag a great deal, so I wanted to thank him personally. Just a few short sentences, but they were enough to make Lin Tianyu's mind go completely blank. She stood there stunned for a long moment before snapping out of it and lunged forward, shoving the ajar door wide open. The room was utterly empty. Aside from the basic furniture, there wasn't a single personal item left. It was as clean as a brand new house. The new tenant didn't notice her face slowly turning pale. He just grinned and said, "It's spotless, right?" The agent told me the guy spent 3 whole days cleaning. Since he couldn't take it all with him, he threw out a lot of stuff. Lin Tianyu didn't know how she made it back to her own apartment. When she came to her senses, she found herself collapsed on the floor by the entrance. Her legs were so numb she couldn't feel them. Her whole body was soaked, as if she'd just been pulled out of the water. She took out her phone, found my WeChat, and with trembling fingers, typed a few words. "Why did you move?" The moment she hit send, a red exclamation mark appeared on the screen. The glaring red was a painful sight. Her eyes stared blankly for a few seconds. Then, unwilling to give up, she sent a few more messages. But a series of error notifications popped up one after another. Staring at her phone screen, she felt as if someone was strangling her, to the point where she could barely breathe. Just as she felt she was about to suffocate, her phone rang. She finally let go and answered. Her roommate's panicked voice screamed in her ear. "Tianyu, this is bad. Lu Chengchu went to Italy. I was just at the bulletin board, and I saw his name on the exchange student list." Those words struck like a bolt of lightning, unleashing a tempest in Lin Tianyu's heart. She tried to use the cabinet to pull herself up, but her legs, long since numb, refused to obey her. She stumbled and fell hard to the ground. Her forehead slammed against the corner of the wall, tearing open a gash. Fresh blood began to pour out. The phone clattered to one side, her friend's frantic voice still echoing from it. "What's wrong? We're coming over right now." But by then, Lin Tianyu was in no state to pay attention to any of that. She raised a hand to clutch her wound, her mind feeling like it was being swarmed by ants. The pain shooting through her nerves was unbearable. She curled into a ball, deep, pained moans escaping her throat. Her vision went black before she completely lost consciousness. Her last lingering thought was the sentence that she had read over and over again today. The sentence that had been seared into the depths of her soul. Lu Chengchu will never like Lin Tianyu again. Lin Tianyu was severely injured. Though she was lucky to be alive, she had to be kept in the intensive care unit. When she finally woke up, she discovered 3 days had passed. Her close friends were keeping vigil by her bedside. They let out a collective sigh of relief and then began to chatter, filling her in on everything that had happened while she was unconscious. According to the gossip they'd heard, Lu Chengchu had already arrived in Italy 3 days ago, but he hadn't completed his enrollment procedures there yet. Apparently, after the list was published, someone went to the school to report him. They claimed he had cheated on a recent exam and demanded that his spot in the study abroad program be revoked. If his spot gets revoked, then there's a 90% chance he'll have to come back. Tianyu, don't you worry. He's not getting away. Lin Tianyu's heart skipped a beat, and her eyes suddenly flew wide open. She hadn't even had time to process this massive influx of information. When a knock sounded at the door, one of her roommates went to open it, and the other three turned to look in unison. They saw the highly respected Professor Zhang, striding in with a grim expression. He glanced at the person on the hospital bed, his imposing aura making it impossible for anyone to meet his gaze. "You're Lin Tianyu? I heard that the plagiarism case involving Lu Chengchu and Zhou Yanshu was your doing. I need to have a word with you." Hearing this, her roommates didn't dare to linger, and they quickly left the hospital room, watching the door slowly close. Lin Tianyu lifted her chin slightly. "It was me." When he received her affirmative answer, Professor Zhang's face instantly flushed with rage. His voice was sharp. "Lu Chengchu told me you forged the evidence. How dare you forge evidence in a matter this serious? Do you have any idea how this will affect his future once the disciplinary notice is issued, combined with the last time he got caught up in that cyberbullying incident because of you? His entire life will be ruined by you. Yes, he likes you, but think about it calmly. In the past 2 years, has he ever done anything to wrong you? Do you hate him that much? Do you really have to push him into a corner? If you have even a shred of human decency left, then go to the school and tell them the truth immediately." Hearing these words, Lin Tianyu's mind went completely blank. A sudden panic seized her heart. At the time, she was just angry that I didn't choose her at the club's social event. She wanted to force me to back down and make peace, so she deceived Teacher Zhao. She never dreamed that it would cause such a massive chain reaction. Disregarding the wound on her forehead, she struggled, insisting on going with Professor Zhang to the school to clear things up. The two of them had just stepped out the door when they were stopped by medical staff. The doctors didn't dare let her leave and tried their best to persuade her, but she didn't hear a word they said. Adamant about returning to the school, Professor Zhang had already contacted the person in charge of the school's disciplinary committee. In front of the dean of the Design Institute and teacher Zhao, Lin Tianyu pointed directly at Zhou Yanshu as the one who plagiarized. Zhou Yanshu never expected her to suddenly turn on him. He immediately panicked, sobbing and denying it wasn't him. Teacher Zhao was also shocked that he would recant his statement, and for a moment didn't know whether to believe him or not. Lin Tianyu coldly opened her phone and presented a photo. "This is a letter Zhou Yanshu once wrote to me by hand. My family will be bringing the original here shortly. The teachers can compare the handwriting on the letter with the one on that paper." Hearing this, Zhou Yanshu wailed until his voice was hoarse. "Tianyu, it's me, Yanshu. Have you forgotten we grew up together? This whole thing is over, so why are you lying?" Lin Tianyu looked at the irrefutable evidence and then at his desperate attempts to deny it, a flash of disgust in her eyes. "I have never liked you. Before, I was just putting on an act. Now, I don't want to act anymore. And naturally, I won't cover for you anymore either. If you did it, then you have to take full responsibility for your actions." As she finished speaking, the Lin family arrived with the original letter. After a character-by-character comparison, the handwriting on the paper was indeed Zhou Yanshu's. The disciplinary committee immediately held a meeting and decided to issue a school-wide announcement to clarify the truth. For causing such a negative impact, Zhou Yanshu was expelled, and the incident was permanently recorded in his student file. By the time everything was settled, night had already fallen. Lin Tianyu leaned against the wall as she walked out and called out to Professor Zhang. "Professor Zhang, does Chengchu know what's happened back home yet?" Although the matter had been resolved smoothly, Professor Zhang's anger had not subsided. He still couldn't stand the sight of her. He was about to be expelled, and you didn't know? Is there something wrong with your head, being yelled at so harshly? Lin Tianyu felt even worse. But she still wanted to explain. "That's been resolved now. Will he be coming back?" This recommendation was the only one in the entire Design Institute. Chengchu earned it with his own abilities. 3 years of proper study in Italy, and his future will be wide open when he returns. Why would he come back? Besides, with someone like you at Qingdao University, he's better off not returning and saving himself the misery. If I had known he was so bewitched to fall for someone like you, I would have chewed him out from the very beginning and told him to open his eyes when looking for a partner. When I received the call from Professor Zhang telling me I was in the clear, I was sunbathing on the beach. I don't know how he managed to make Lin Tianyu tell the truth. I just sincerely expressed my deepest gratitude to him. Professor Zhang gave me a few more words of advice, then hurriedly hung up for a meeting. I took a sip of the juice next to me and leisurely leaned back on the beach chair. 3 days ago, I arrived in Italy. I originally planned to finish my enrollment procedures right away, but who knew the school would call back home to verify my situation. Then they suddenly announced there was an issue with my scholarship, and I couldn't enroll for the time being. I asked my roommate and found out that someone had secretly reported me. So I went to Professor Zhang to explain the situation clearly and asked him to help figure something out. Even though Professor Zhang is a prominent figure at Qingdao University, I knew this mess would be hard to clear up, so I was fully prepared to face the storm. I have to admit, ever since I got tangled up with Lin Tianyu, my stress tolerance has definitely leveled up. Now, facing the serious consequence of potentially getting expelled, I could actually brush it off. I was even in the mood to buy a red-eye flight ticket and head to the beach for a vacation. Now that everything is resolved, I'm completely relieved. I'm just figuring out when to head back to finish up the rest of the paperwork. While I was browsing for flights, a message suddenly popped up in the dorm group chat. Chengzhou, Lin Tianyu just came to the dorm looking for us. She said she wanted your contact info. She claimed she wanted to apologize. But we didn't fall for her tricks. Don't worry, I didn't leak a single digit. You have no idea how haggard she looks right now. Her head is still wrapped in bandages. I heard she was in the ICU just a few days ago. Karma really is a bitch. Serves her right. Reading these incredibly vivid, sarcastic remarks, the image of Lin Tianyu getting rejected while begging for my new number flashed in my mind. A faint smile tugged at the corners of my lips, and I sent a big red envelope into the group chat. Thanks for helping me out these past few days, guys. Everything's been smoothed over. Once these 3 years are up, I'll treat you all to a meal when I get back, to show my gratitude in person. After booking the earliest flight back to Milan, I stretched and stood up, stepping on the soft sand as I headed back to the hotel. This time, the enrollment process went smoothly, without any further hiccups. Looking at the stack of stamped documents and the brand new student ID in my hand, a look of utter satisfaction appeared on my face. Are you planning to stay in the dorms or rent an apartment off campus? I already have an apartment. I'm not used to living in crowded and chaotic places like international student dorms. So before coming here, I went ahead and bought a small apartment near the campus. Once I was done, I grabbed my suitcase and headed straight there. When I arrived, I looked at the flight of stairs in front of me, then tried lifting my heavy suitcase and let out a helpless sigh. I was just debating whether to pay someone to help me carry it when a beautiful girl suddenly walked over. She asked me, in English, if I needed a hand. I quickly nodded. And so, the beauty helped me carry my luggage. Up the stairs, she struck up a conversation with me as we walked. By the time we reached my apartment door, we had already introduced ourselves. I sincerely thanked her, but she showed me her red, chafed palm and playfully joked, I lent you a hand. A simple thank you isn't quite enough, is it? If you don't mind, could I get your business card? Hearing this request, I was stunned for a moment, but I quickly recovered. However, after rummaging around, I couldn't find any cards, so I apologetically said, I'm sorry, no worries. Saying that, she pulled out a pen like a magic trick and held out the back of her hand to me. Your phone number. Please write it on my hand. I hesitated for a few seconds before taking the pen and wrote a long string of numbers on her hand. After moving into the new apartment, I was busy for several days straight until I finally finished cleaning and decorating the place. That night, I received a text message. The international exchange students for this term have all completed their enrollment. Tomorrow, there will be a welcome ceremony in the auditorium. I made a note of the time and left the house early the next morning. These past few days, whenever I had free time, I'd stroll around the campus. But because the school is so huge and the architecture looks so similar, I still ended up getting lost. Seeing that it was almost time, I was about to find someone to ask for directions when my phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. After thinking for a few seconds, I decided to answer it. A very familiar voice came from the other end of the line, but I just couldn't place who it was. While I was puzzled, someone suddenly tapped me lightly on the shoulder from behind. As soon as I turned around, I saw the gorgeous girl from a few days ago, Sylvia. She was smiling and greeting me. With the phone still pressed to my ear, I finally realized it was her number. A look of joy clearly showed on my face. We high-fived as a greeting. What are you spacing out for? I honestly explained my current predicament. Hearing that I was heading to the auditorium, she said she was planning to go there too and could show me the way. I happened to be heading that way too. Let me show you the way. I didn't suspect a thing. The two of us walked through the maze-like campus, chatting and laughing along the way. After whining around for over 10 minutes, Sylvia pointed to the building in front of us and told me we had arrived. I took out my phone to check, and it really did look exactly like the picture my classmate had sent. I quickly waved to thank Sylvia. The welcome ceremony dragged on for 2 whole hours. By the time I walked out of the auditorium, my back was aching. Just as I was wondering where to eat for lunch, someone suddenly jumped out in front of me. Sylvia greeted me with a bright smile and asked what my plans were for lunch. I was just stressing over this and seeing my dilemma. She smiled and recommended a restaurant, inviting me to go with her. I immediately agreed and followed her as we looped out of the campus. It wasn't until we reached the front of the restaurant that I realized it was a Chinese restaurant. A hint of confusion flashed in my eyes. You want to take me to eat Chinese food? Are you used to eating it? I heard you guys aren't really used to the food over here. I hope today we can have a really enjoyable meal. I also wanted to try Chinese food, which is why I picked this place. I didn't expect her to be so thoughtful, not wanting to let her kindness go to waste. Let's eat here then. I'm practically half a host, so let me treat you to this meal. I hope to give you a great first experience with Chinese food. The two of us chatted as we walked into the restaurant and found a place to sit down. Thanks to Sylvia's lively, yet very polite personality, the meal was genuinely a lot of fun. We talked about the cultural differences between East and West, and then shared some interesting stories that had happened recently at school. We quickly became close. After finishing lunch, Sylvia even walked me back to my apartment. When we parted ways, she looked a bit reluctant to leave. This weekend, would I have the honor of inviting you for afternoon tea? The weekend brought a rare day of beautiful weather. I happily went to the meeting spot and leisurely chatted with Sylvia in a garden cafe. A flock of white doves flew over to the lake. A feather gently fell onto my head. Seeing this, Sylvia smiled and stood up, reaching over to take it off for me. The distance between us was so close. From afar, it looked incredibly intimate. I looked up with eyes full of laughter. Thanks. Just as I said that, I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my left eye, and my gaze suddenly froze. The woman standing at the door, her forehead wrapped in bandages, with that miserably haggard face. Why did she look so much like Lin Tianyu? Before I could even get a good look, she aggressively stormed over. She lowered her bloodshot eyes, staring intently at the delicious pastries on the table. Then her gaze kept darting back and forth between the two of us. Who is she? Hearing this familiar voice, I was finally certain it was Lin Tianyu, even though I didn't know. How she knew I was here, I wasn't surprised by her appearance at all. I knew she'd eventually track me down to Italy one day. After all, in Lin Tianyu's eyes, I was just prey resting right in the palm of her hand. She absolutely wouldn't let me slip away, right under her nose. I had mentally prepared for this reunion a long time ago, so when faced with her arrogant attitude, I appeared incredibly calm. A new friend. What's it to you? A friend? What kind of friend? A girlfriend, right? Lin Tianyu practically gritted her teeth on those last few words. She never could have imagined that she'd drag her heavily injured body all this way on a long flight, wanting to lay everything out in the open with me, only to catch me on a date with another woman. You've only been abroad for a few days and you've already found someone new? Didn't you like me for 2 years and never gave up even after being rejected 99 times? Didn't you say we'd be together on the 100th time? Why are you going back on your word, breaking your promise? Have you forgotten? I didn't give her a chance to bring up the past. Chasing after you wasn't exactly my proudest moment, so what if I forgot? Shouldn't I have forgotten? Aside from that face of yours, you really don't have anything better than anyone else. I got bored and wanted a change of taste. Do I need your permission for that too? A few blunt words left Lin Tianyu completely speechless. She looked at me in disbelief, her eyes filled with doubt. Chengzhou, what exactly have you been through these past few days? We clearly agreed I've been living great these past few days. Eating well, drinking well, sleeping well.
Thanks to you, I even had time to travel. On the contrary, you suddenly showing up is kinda killing my vibe. If you get my point, then please step out of this cafe. Honestly, you're interrupting my meal with this beauty. When I said these words, my voice was light, my expression treating it as a matter of fact. This cold and distant attitude made Lin Tianyu's already awful complexion turn even paler. Only then did she realize that everything had truly slipped out of her control. I was wrong before. I shouldn't have taken advantage of your true feelings. I'm sorry, Chung-jo. Please forgive me. Can you give me one more chance? Looking at her slightly trembling hands, I raised an eyebrow, my tone full of sarcasm. An apology from the campus belle. I can't accept that. Rest assured, from now on, we're just strangers. You don't have to worry about me tailing you anymore. Seeing the resolve in my eyes, Lin Tianyu knew I wasn't joking. She panicked completely, her hand instinctively tightening its grip, making me frown. Because Sylvia didn't understand our conversation, she initially thought we were friends, greeting each other. Seeing my hand being gripped so tightly, it was turning red, she quickly stood up to help me pry it off. To Lin Tianyu, this action was nothing short of a provocation. Without a second thought, she violently swatted Sylvia's hand away. Sylvia was shoved back, stumbling a few steps. Lin Tianyu shot her a cold glare, then grabbed me, intending to leave. Sylvia leaned against the wall to steady herself, and seeing my resistant posture, she marched over and slapped Lin Tianyu right across the face. In the blink of an eye, the two of them were brawling wildly. Many customers, afraid of getting caught in the crossfire, scrambled out the door. The owner on the second floor immediately called the cops to sort it out. The police pulled the two red-eyed fighters apart and hauled everyone down to the station. The bandages on Lin Tianyu's head had been ripped off, revealing a gruesome-looking wound. Even the cops were startled when they saw it, and instinctively assumed that Sylvia was bullying a patient. Sylvia tried her best to explain, but Lin Tianyu, despite her injuries, refused to back down, insisting it was Sylvia who threw the first punch. The two of them argued loudly for a long time, giving the cops such a headache they couldn't take it anymore, and they still hadn't figured out who was right and who was wrong. Out of options, they had to turn to the only eyewitness at the scene. Me. That's right, me. Sir, could you please describe the situation at the scene when the incident occurred? Is that all right? Hearing this question, the two of them turned around in unison, fixing their desperate gazes on me. I didn't hesitate at all, raising my hand and pointing straight at Lin Tianyu. She was the one who attacked. First, hearing this, Lin Tianyu froze, rooted to the spot in shock. She couldn't believe I would actually point the finger at her. Even her voice was trembling. I just shoved her. She clearly hit me first. Cheng-jo, why are you her? Words suddenly died in her throat. A thought suddenly flashed through Lin Tianyu's mind, and she instantly understood why I said that. He's getting back at me. He wants me to taste what it's like to be wronged, to take the blame for someone else. Realizing this, she couldn't utter another word. The police officer didn't understand this Chinese sentence, so he asked me to translate it for him. I bluntly severed all ties between us. Sylvia and I were having a meal, and she just barged in and started causing trouble. Against my will, she tried to force me to leave with her, and then she shoved someone. That's why they started fighting. The last shred of hope in Lin Tianyu's heart was completely shattered. Her lips parted, her voice hoarse and weak. From now on, you'll never take my side again, will you? I was disgusted, glancing at her with a sneer. I'm an honest person. I only side with the truth. Lin Tianyu still wasn't willing to give up, pressing me with one more question. So if she had shoved me first today, would you have honestly told the truth? Do you even have to ask? You and I aren't related. Are we that close? Sylvia is young and thin-skinned. Of course, I have to protect my friend. Leaving those words behind, I didn't even bother to see her expression, turning my back and walking away. With the testimonies and the swiftly extracted surveillance footage, the situation was quickly cleared up. Lin Tianyu was detained for causing trouble with a foreigner. I waited for Sylvia to come out, thanking her and apologizing at the same time. She waved it off, not caring at all about this minor injury, and instead said today's outing was ruined, wanting to meet up again next week. I thought about it very carefully. Even though Sylvia is, indeed, very beautiful, judging from what happened today, she doesn't seem rational or mature enough. I knew Lin Tianyu wouldn't let things go so easily, and I didn't want to drag her into this mess, much less end up at the police station a few more times. I could tell she was interested in me, but the current me wouldn't act on impulse anymore. So in the end, I tactfully declined. For more than half a month after that, I didn't see Lin Tianyu again. Life got back on track, but then Sylvia asked me out 2 more times. After I turned her down, the relationship between us just naturally faded. I wasn't sad at all about this fleeting romance. In a foreign land, thanks to my decent cooking skills, I quickly blended in with the international student crowd.
Just when I was about to forget Lin Tianyu even existed, she suddenly showed up again, bringing several carts full of roses and balloons, blocking my path right on campus. Seeing the curious stares gathering from all directions, I was momentarily speechless, not knowing what to say. Lin Tianyu didn't even care about the look on my face, just pouring out all the words she had kept hidden in her heart. Chengzhou, if I chase you 100 times too, would you be willing to give me one more chance? If the Amy from a few months ago had heard these words, I definitely would have been moved to tears. But the current me was not only indifferent, but hearing it actually gave me goosebumps. What a melodramatic soap opera. The dialogue was so cheesy it made my teeth ache. Was I possessed by some demon back then to actually pull off these kinds of public confessions so many times? Now, looking back at the past, I didn't even have a sigh left in me, only a lingering cringe that made me want to look away. At this moment, I wasn't even listening to a word the person in front of me was saying. After waiting a long time without getting an answer, Lin Tianyu grew more and more panicked. She grew restless and anxious, her tense gaze fixed on me. I deliberately avoided her gaze, turned, and waved to someone in the distance. Hey, Go King Shui, Guis Itzi, where are you two headed? Lin Tianyu followed my line of sight, only to realize I was greeting someone else. Her heart sank as if plunged into an icy abyss. Before Lin Tianyu could even finish calling out Chengzhou, the girl named Gu Qingshui had already walked over. Her tone was incredibly friendly. We're going camping. Want to come along, Chengzhou? The weather was nice. I had no other plans for the weekend, and there was this huge nuisance right in front of me. I had no reason to refuse, so I happily accepted. I smiled and asked her about the plans for the evening. Neither of us spared Lin Tianyu. A single glance. We just kept chatting as we joined the camping group. Watching our group's backs disappear into the distance, the color drained from Lin Tianyu's face. She clenched her fists, her eyes fixed on Gu Qingshui, overflowing with jealousy and resentment. Lin Tianyu followed us all the way to the outskirts of the city. From across a river, she could clearly see everything happening on the other bank. 7 or 8 international students were gathered, partying. The atmosphere was lively. She couldn't possibly fit in, so she had to watch from afar. But the more she watched me, the more frustrated she became. No matter what I did, that girl, Gu Qingshui, was always by my side. The distance between us never exceeded 10 steps, and we were even getting closer. A completely different kind of intimacy than with anyone else. It made Lin Tianyu's eyes burn with jealousy, wishing she could rush over and drag me away. But she knew that if she actually did that, it would definitely infuriate me. She didn't want our relationship to get any worse, so she didn't dare do anything to add fuel to the fire. She could only swallow the burning, chaotic emotions inside, telling herself to endure, and this endurance lasted for a full 6 hours. Night began to fall. We lit a bonfire and started partying. It was incredibly loud, but I wasn't used to the noise, so I went to the riverbank alone for some fresh air. Lin Tianyu seized the opportunity and walked up to me. Chengzhou, there's something I need to tell you. I was in a great mood today, but the sight of her was still an eyesore, so my tone was anything but warm. Sorry, I don't want to hear it. With that, I turned to leave. Lin Tianyu immediately panicked. She hurriedly grabbed my hand, her eyes pleading. Just give me a few minutes. Chengzhou, there are things I've wanted to say for a very long time. Hearing that, I finally looked up at her, my expression loaded with meaning. A very long time? What is it? Don't tell me it's that lie about how you fell in love with me at first sight 2 years ago. By the end, my voice was dripping with sarcasm. Lin Tianyu, on the other hand, was stunned as if struck by lightning. She never would have dreamed she'd hear me say the very thoughts she believed she had hidden so well. I didn't care how she felt. The sarcastic smile on my lips only widened. Lin Tianyu, just think about it. If you said those words, forget me, would anyone else, would even you, believe them? Who secretly loves someone for 2 years without a single slip-up? Who, for the sake of their own vanity, would reject the person they supposedly love's public confession 99 times? And who, when faced with every hardship and pain, would, without fail, push the person they like to the opposing side? You call that love? Sounds more like bone-deep hatred to me. Hearing my sarcastic words, Lin Tianyu's mind went completely blank. She desperately wanted to deny everything, but in the end, she couldn't utter a single word of defense. All she could manage were weak, powerless words. That's not true, Chengzhou. I really do like you. Everyone around me knows it. They can all vouch for me. If I didn't know, then who you like has nothing to do with me, does it? Besides, from my perspective, the person you've liked from the very beginning is Zhou Yanshu. You should go find him and confess your undying love. Pour out your heart. You two are such a perfect match. The whole thing just makes me sick. The undisguised disgust on my face was the final straw that broke Lin Tianyu. Her body trembled uncontrollably, but she still refused to let go, stubbornly trying to hold me back. I had no more patience to deal with her. I pulled my hand away and turned to walk off. The moment our hands separated, she felt as if she was about to lose everything. Her heart ached unbearably, and the last of her strength vanished in an instant. She staggered on the verge of collapsing. I coldly ignored her and strode back to the crowd. I thought that if I just made things clear, Lin Tianyu would give up, but I quickly realized this person was incapable of reason. For the next few months, whenever I stepped outside, she would inevitably be within a 20-meter radius. Every few days, she would bring some small gift to me under the beautiful pretext of a confession. Once, twice, then a third time, I was starting to lose count. Faced with her stubborn and delusional actions, I remained completely unresponsive. If I could pretend not to see her, I did. When that wasn't an option, I'd call security to have her removed for causing a disturbance. After this happened time and time again, the entire school came to know of a person named Lin Tianyu, and they also knew about her relentless pursuit of me. So wherever she went, people would point and whisper. But she didn't seem to care at all, single-mindedly chasing after my shadow. She seemed to think that if she just persisted, one day she would move me. But reality was far crueler than she imagined. Not only was I not the least bit moved, but I even began casually accepting confessions from other girls right in front of her. Lin Tianyu could only stand by and watch as I grew closer and closer to the other women around me. Gradually, Lin Tianyu had to get used to the sight of me being surrounded and pursued by countless people. She was forced to admit that I had been right. I had never been her personal possession. After being rejected time and time again, she had grown somewhat numb. No matter what hurtful things I said, or what kind of looks I gave her, she no longer felt any pain. She counted the rejections from 1 to 50, from winter to spring, and then to the beginning of summer. She thought these days would just pass by quietly like this, from 50 to 100, or even to the 101st time. Lin Tianyu never once thought of giving up. However, just when she thought she could truly take it all in stride, I appeared before her, holding another woman's hand. I smiled and introduced her to the people around us. This is my girlfriend. In that moment, Lin Tianyu felt her world come crashing down. She instantly lost her senses and rushed forward, demanding an explanation. But before she could even get close, she was stopped by the patrolling security guards. From behind a wall of people, her eyes red, she screamed herself hoarse. Why? My gaze rested on her for exactly 1 second. Then I replied flatly, I'm young, I'm rich, and I have plenty of free time. What's wrong with dating a beautiful woman? Does it affect you in any way? Because of this, Lin Tianyu fell into a deep depression for a long time. She started drinking alone at a bar to drown her sorrows. She got wasted every single night. Every day when she woke up to the emptiness around her, she couldn't help but sink back into misery. She wanted to find me, to beg me to break up with my girlfriend. But every time she got close and saw me holding hands with my new girlfriend, laughing and talking happily, she lost all courage to take another step. It was only now that Lin Tianyu finally understood that feeling. But it was all too late. She ignored the advice of her family and friends, insisting on staying abroad to seek some kind of closure. As the summer heat began to fade, Lin Tianyu finally heard the news that I had broken up with my girlfriend. She went to find me with a smile, wanting to comfort me. But once again, things did not go as she expected. I didn't show the slightest hint of sadness, and the way I looked at her was no different from a few months ago. The smile on Lin Tianyu's face froze. She asked tentatively, "Aren't you upset?" I gave a perfectly polite smile. It was an amicable breakup, completely mutual. What's there to be upset about? Hearing this, Lin Tianyu felt a little relieved. But in the next second, my sudden words caught in her throat. Besides, no matter how upset I might be, how could it possibly compare to what I went through 2 years ago? Weren't you there to witness it all firsthand? What's the point of shedding crocodile tears now? Those last few sarcastic remarks sent Lin Tianyu into a frenzy. She wanted to explain, but I didn't give her the chance. About that year, I can explain. Chengzhou. All right, that's enough. Any more of this is just annoying. Lin Tianyu, can you please stop acting in front of me? I'm not in the mood to appreciate your performance skills anymore. If you're itching to act, go back home and find Zhou Yanshu and your little clique of sisters. I'm sure they'd be more than willing to applaud you. My words made Lin Tianyu's face flush crimson. I decisively pushed her away and headed straight for the lecture hall. Fortunately, I had already corrected how everyone around me addressed me. Now, everyone calls me by my English name. Very few people know that I'm the Lu Chengzhou she's confessing to. At this point, Lin Tianyu had exhausted every confession trick she could think of. After all, the previous 99 attempts had failed to move me. She was truly at her wit's end. Finally, after a reminder from a friend, she came up with an idea. The 100th confession. She chose the school's small garden. In the garden, she set up a giant domino display, arranged to form a picture of the scene where we first met. She hung countless star-shaped lights in the treetops and prepared to light candles throughout the garden at night, all to take me back to the past. To lure me there, Lin Tianyu had asked many people for help and prepared dozens of backup plans. This time she was determined to make me understand that she had truly fallen for me at first sight and that now she was genuinely repentant. Everything was perfectly arranged, but when the appointed time came and I didn't show up, Lin Tianyu completely lost control. She drove around, searching every possible place for me. The 9 o'clock alarm rang. The dark woods were instantly illuminated by lights. Countless balloons floated up, and flower petals rained down from above. Along with feathers, the sound of a romantic piano echoed through the trees. A continuous clicking sound filled the air. It was the sound of the dominoes automatically starting their chain reaction. One after another, the sound continued for over 10 minutes. The moment the last domino fell, all the candles flared to life. Lin Tianyu, she felt as if all the strength in her body had been drained away. When everything finally settled down, her phone rang. It was an unknown international call, but the moment she answered, she immediately recognized my voice on the other end. I heard you're planning your 100th confession tonight. Too bad I'm not in the country right now. I'm really sorry about that. Lin Tianyu swallowed the pain and resentment in her heart, trying to sound as if nothing was wrong. It's fine. I'm just happy you called me. As long as you want me to, I can prepare a 101st or even a 102nd confession for you. Her voice carried a quiet, desperate hope, as if she was still holding on to the delusion that I would forgive her. There's no need for that. I only called today to tell you 2 things. Lin Tianyu gulped slightly, her grip on the phone tightening. First, I'm kindly reminding you, it's winter right now and the weather is dry. If you're done putting on this little show, hurry up and blow out all the candles in the garden before you start a fire. Hearing this, Lin Tianyu looked up, just in time to see a dry leaf slowly falling down. Second, I want to give you some good news. I have a new girlfriend. She's even a bit prettier than the last one. You can pack up your confession now. Stop degrading yourself for nothing. Those few simple words pierced Lin Tianyu's mind, echoing endlessly. In an instant, as if struck by a curse, a bone-deep pain washed over her. Overwhelmed by the agony, she lost all her strength. With a clatter, the phone slipped from her hand and landed right on a candle stand. In just a few breaths, a massive fire fiercely engulfed the garden. But she didn't even try to run or call for help. She stood there like a statue, becoming a part of the garden itself. By the time the night had passed, all the plants in the garden had been reduced to ashes. The only silver lining was that there were no casualties. The firefighters arrived just in time, saving her right before she passed out from the smoke. Even though she was lucky to survive, the fire left the administration of Qingda University absolutely furious. They took a hardline stance, vowing to hold the culprit fully accountable. As the prime suspect, Lin Tianyu was arrested and detained by the police. When the Lin family heard the news, they were frantic, pulling every string they had to bail her out. But since this was an international case, there was no way Lin Tianyu could walk away unscathed. In the end, the Lin family had to pay out more than half their fortune in compensation before Qingda University agreed to drop the charges. However, due to the severe backlash, Lin Tianyu still had to serve 6 months in prison. She was blacklisted by the European Union, deported, and permanently banned from entry. The moment she was released, she was taken straight to the airport, to be deported back home. Seeing the crowds around her dressed in summer clothes,
Lin Tianyu felt dazed, as if waking from a dream, before slowly coming back to her senses. It was already summer, months had passed, and I hadn't visited her even once. Realizing this, a complex wave of emotions surged within her. It was hard to tell if it was disappointment or emptiness. We still have a long future ahead. There's still a chance we can get back together. Lin Tianyu could only comfort herself with those thoughts, but unexpectedly, as soon as she turned around, she saw me walking out from the corner of the street, and I was holding hands with a beautiful woman. From the photos her friends had sent her, she knew this woman was my girlfriend. I happened to look up and saw her. Surprisingly, I greeted her warmly. Then I casually told her the truth. Hey, long time no see. I just got back from a trip to Germany, so you've been released already. Time really flies. Let me introduce you. This is my new girlfriend, Monica. After Lin Qianyu returned to the country, she asked a few people to pass a message to me. She asked if I was just putting on an act, or if I was being serious. I never replied. At this point, I had completely seen through Lin Qianyu's true colors. She said she liked me, but in reality, the only person she ever liked was herself. To her, I was nothing more than a trophy for her to show off. During my second year studying abroad, I seized the opportunity to participate in numerous competitions. As the days went by, my 3 years as an exchange student ended in the blink of an eye. I returned home with a suitcase full of gold medals. The moment I stepped off the plane, I saw my parents and my roommates waiting to welcome me with flowers. As for Lin Tianyu, I knew she would never again have a ticket into my life. In this vast sea of people, we were just two strangers about to pass each other by.